Hi, my name is Paul DeMarco. I'd like to tell you about a miracle that happened at Fatima in Portugal in 1917. It came to be known as the miracle of the sun, and it was witnessed by 70,000 people. Now, on the 13th of May 1917, three young children who were tending their sheep claimed to have seen the Virgin Mary appear to them. It was at a place called the Cova da Iria, just outside of Fatima. And the children were given a message by Our Lady. She called for three specific things. The one was for the world to repent and to turn to God in prayer. Secondly, she called for the consecration of Russia to her Immaculate Heart by the Pope in union with the bishops of the world. And thirdly, she asked for a new devotion to be established, which came to be known as the First Five Saturdays devotion. Now, the children were not believed. It was a bit like what happened to Bernadette at Lourdes a few decades before. And Our Lady said that she would work a miracle on the 13th of October 1917 so that all may believe. Anyway, on the appointed day, a crowd of about 70,000 descended upon the Cova area. It had been raining and the ground was all churned up with mud. And then they witnessed the miracle. And I'd just like to read a few of the eyewitness accounts from that day. Dr. Almeida Garrett, he was the professor of the Faculty of Science at Coimbra. He wrote, "The most astonishing thing was to be able to stare at the solar disk for a long time, brilliant with light and heat without hurting the eyes or damaging the retina. During this time the sun's disk did not remain immobile. It had a giddy motion, but not like the twinkling of a star in all its brilliance, for it spun around upon itself in a mad whirl. During the solar phenomenon, which I have just described, there were also changes of colour in the atmosphere. Looking at the sun, I noticed that everything was becoming darkened. I looked first at the nearest objects and then extended my glance further afield as far as the horizon. I saw everything had assumed an amethyst colour. Objects around me, the sky and the atmosphere, were of the same colour. Everything both near and far had changed, taking on the colour of old yellow damask. Then suddenly one heard a clamour, a cry of anguish breaking out from all the people. The sun, whirling wildly, seemed all at once to loosen itself from the firmament, and, blood red, advanced threateningly upon the earth, as if to crush us with its huge and fiery weight. The sensations during those moments were truly terrible. All the phenomena that I have described were observed by me in a calm and serene state of mind, without any emotional disturbance." Dr. Domingo Culo wrote an article for the Ordem newspaper, and this is what he wrote. "The sun at one moment surrounded with scarlet flame, at another, aureoled in yellow and deep purple, seemed to be in an exceedingly swift and whirling movement, at times appearing to be loosened from the sky and to be approaching the earth, strongly radiating heat." Then there's the account by Reverend Lourenco. He described what he saw that day. "I feel incapable of describing what I saw. I looked fixedly at the sun, which seemed pale and did not hurt my eyes. Looking like a ball of snow revolving on itself, it suddenly seemed to come down in a zigzag, menacing the earth. Terrified, I ran and hid among the people who were weeping and expecting the end of the world at any moment." And then Alfredo de Silva Santos wrote, "I can hardly find words to describe what followed. The sun began to move and at a certain moment appeared to be detached from the sky and about to hurtle on us like a wheel of flame. My wife fainted. I fell on my knees, oblivious of everything, and when I got up, I don't know what I said. I think I began to cry out like the others." And then Avelino de Almeida wrote an article for the secular newspaper. And he wrote, "The sun trembled and made sudden, incredible movements outside of all cosmic laws." Donna Maria Menezes wrote, Suddenly the rain stopped and the sun broke through, casting its rays on the earth. It seemed to be falling on that vast crowd of people, and it spun like a fire wheel, taking on all the colours of the rainbow. Now Bishop de Silva, he was the Bishop of Leiria Fatima, wrote, "This phenomena, which was not registered in any astronomical observatory and could not therefore have been of natural origin, was witnessed by people of every category and class, by believers as well as by unbelievers, journalists of the principal daily newspapers, and even by people kilometers away, a fact which destroys any theory of collective hallucination." De Marchi studied the events as well, and he said that engineers that have studied the case reckoned that an incredible amount of energy would have been necessary to dry up those pools of water that had formed on the field in a few minutes, as it was reported by eyewitnesses. Now, Our Lady had also said that a sign would be given if the world did not respond to her requests. And that sign would be a prelude to another war, a war which she said would be far worse than the current one, which was World War I. She pinpointed this as happening during the pontificate of Pius XI. And that did come to pass. It happened on the 25th of January 1938. It was a night illumined by an unknown light, which is what she had prophesied. It was witnessed in North America as well as throughout the whole of Europe, as far south as Malta. And just 6 weeks later, Hitler annexed Austria, and the world was again on the path to war. A war which claimed between 75 and 79 million lives, if you count war-related famine and disease. Now, I've written a book about this. It's called The Message of Fatima, 100 Years On. And it tells the story of Fatima, what Our Lady requested, the miracles, all the eyewitness accounts, and it shows just how relevant the message of Fatima is for us today. It's very interesting. Thank you.